In 2012, the craft beer industry captured $10.2 billion in sales, and the Boulder area has been a growing contributor to that success. Joining us today to talk about the craft beer industry in the Boulder area is Dan Weitz, Marketing Director of Boulder Beer Company. So what is driving the growth of the craft beer industry nationwide?
What is driving the growth nationwide? Well, people are discovering good beer, and once they do, they don't go back.
Great answer. There have been a number of new brew pubs and breweries opening up in Boulder County, as I'm sure you're well aware. And why do you think this region is seeing such strong growth?
Well, one of the things that I've always said about Colorado is we have great laws that are very friendly to starting a microbrewery or a craft brewery, because we have direct access to the decision maker at a restaurant or a liquor store, because you're only allowed to have one liquor license. So the guy with the pickup truck can take his growlers into the bar and say, hey, would you like to try some of this? Or he can go to the liquor store and say, here's a case of beer. If you try some and you think you can sell it, can you do it? So he doesn't have to go to California or Cincinnati if he wants to get into a grocery store like most states. So Colorado is very good that way. Another thing I think that's really kind of neat about Colorado is that we're an Old West state at heart, where people have a Wild West feeling of no one's going to tell me what to do. I'm going to be a very independent person. Now you combine that with the fact that we're very well educated in this state, and people who are educated by nature ask questions. So they're willing to try new things. And I think with craft brewing, people always want to try something new. It's been researched that most craft beer drinkers are loyal to 8 brands. Not one, but 8. So that means that people are always trying something new. And so in our job, it's fun to make new things. And so people try new things.
Oh, excellent.
And that's what I think is a big part about Colorado, is that we're very independent, we're well educated, and let's face it, in Boulder, we're fairly affluent, so we can spend more money than just on PBR.
I love it. What is the economic impact of the craft beer industry within our region?
Within our region, I checked with the Brewers Guild before I came over, and last year we had $146 million in revenue for the state, and there are over 5,000 jobs in the brewing industry in Colorado, craft brewing. That doesn't count the big brewers. Just last year in 2012, there were 29 new breweries that opened. And as you know, in Boulder, there are already 19 breweries, and I know there's a 20th about to open in May or June. I'm not sure when.
Okay, so a big employer, big driver in our
big
state.
Employer,
Yeah.
big tax base driver,
Mm-hmm.
and I just think that it's a fun industry to be in, and people want to do it. That's one of the big things why there's new breweries all the time. People want to be in this industry. I mean, look at what I get to wear to work.
Looks like a fun way of life. So as Boulder Beer is one of the older microbreweries in the area, do you see this sudden growth spurt as an advantage, or just more competition, or just kind of more activity helps everyone?
Well, first of all, I need to correct you. We are not one of the older breweries.
Oh.
We are the oldest brewery.
Thank you.
Boulder Beer is Colorado's first microbrewery. We were founded in '79, and that was 10 years before the next one.
Wow.
So we've been around for a long time. We've been at our current location on Wilderness Place since 1984. As far as the new guys, one of the coolest things about working in my industry, in Colorado at least, is that we all support each other. We believe that a rising tide floats all the boats. So the more the merrier as far as we're concerned. Yeah, there's going to be competition for what we call the tap handle or the draft line. But we're confident and comfortable in our own skin. We know what we make, and we're good, and we have a great reputation as making good beer. So we don't feel threatened in any way. We want to help these guys out. In fact, we collaborate with Fate on the brew for their opening. 2 of the new guys that are opening just started, they were brewers at Boulder Beer, and they left to start their own brewery. We're helping them out as much as we can, and we've always been that way.
Excellent. And it sounds like Boulder's very well positioned with Fort Collins to the north, and big breweries up there, and then Denver with the Great American Beer Festival. We're in a good spot.
We are in a great spot, but the first Great American Beer Festival was here in Boulder. It was in 1982, and it was at the Millennium Harvest House, and there were about 500 attendees with 40 beers from 22 different breweries. Wow. Last year, there were 4,000 different beers, 50,000 people, and it was mayhem.
Wow.
So, but Boulder, yeah, we're first of all, there's Boulder Beer. We have all the other breweries. The Brewers Association is based out of here. The American Homebrewers Association is based out of Boulder. Next year in 2014, the Craft Brewers Conference is going to be held in Denver at the Convention Center. But the Brewers Guild is now in the process of setting up buses. So there'll be tour buses taking all these brewers from all over the country up to Fort Collins. There'll be 2 buses coming to Boulder because we've got so much to offer. And I think there's going to be one heading south and perhaps one going up to Summit County.
Wow.
So we are the Napa Valley of beer, there's no question.
Wow, that's so exciting. Thank you so much for being on our show today, Dan.
You bet, my pleasure.
We've been speaking with Dan Weitz from Boulder Beer Company about the growth of the craft beer industry.